My man Czar make tracks like this.
What's going on, y'all? I want to give you a review of the HD cart. Now, this is a brand new reverb plugin from Reverb Foundry, and it's based off of a very popular reverb unit from the 1980s. So this unit has the ability to do things that I've never seen any other reverb unit do before. For example, it has 4 outputs, and you could use those 4 outputs as a quadraphonic setup, or you have the ability to use the HD mode, which layers the 4 outputs down to the main outs of the left and right, basically stacking those 4 outputs down to your 2 main outputs. Really unique features, and now we have that in the plugin format. So I've been using this over the last several days, and it's quickly shot up the list to be one of my favorite reverb plugins. So I have reverb plugins that I use to get quick, basic, I can dial it in really quickly reverb sounds. And then I have other reverb plugins that I use that I can tweak a lot and get really specific with the sound that I'm looking for. I find this to be somewhere in between. I can dial it in quickly, but it still has a lot of the tweakability and things that I can do to really tailor a sound. And it's not the GUI is laid out nicely to where nothing is really cluttered or overwhelming or intimidating as I've seen some other plugins be. Uh, Speaking of intimidating, there are some features that you just won't see or I haven't seen on other reverb plugins, and we'll go through these features shortly. So looking at the GUI, it's a nice big GUI, which I'm a fan of. A really modern looking GUI. You've got 2 big knobs on your left and right, which on the left you got your reverb time, and on the right is your dry wet mix. Nothing special there. We've seen that with many other reverb plugins. You've got 5 sections here, and the first being the master section. And under the master section, you'll see things that you see in pretty much all reverb plugins. You've got your reverb and your early reflections, and you have roll-offs for each. And in the middle, you have an overall gain. So one thing that this reverb does that I really like compared to what some reverb plugins do is you have separate control over the reverb and the early reflections. And if you look above at the metering, you've got your input and output, which is standard, but you also have metering for the reflections and the reverb, which I really like. And I find myself watching it a lot just to see where my levels are for those reflections versus the reverb. So some reverb plugins have the option to where you can just dial a blend in between the early reflections and the reverb. I prefer these type of reverb plugins that allow you to dial in your gain for the reverb separate from the early reflections. So moving on to the character, we've got pre-delay, again, standard reverb function, diffusion, standard, but we've got a spread here, which is like your stereo spread and can really widen the reverb. We've got size, which is typical, increases your size for the room. And then you have something odd here, which is spin rate. You can look at spin rate as a type of modulation that you can add here to the reverb. Next, we got your low control. You've got a bass decay, which is decaying your low frequency. This is something I haven't seen in any other reverb plugin. You have your low boost and a pre-delay. And again, this is all for the low frequency. Then we've got an advanced tab. You have a treble decay. So we can set a separate decay for the treble and for the bass. It's really unique features. I haven't seen that in any other reverb plugin. Your recirculation, which goes back into the features that I was talking about being able to fold the 4 inputs down to 2. And you've got a front and rear and Wander. And Wander, you can look at again as a type of modulation. And the last we have is reflections. So you have a control for the front delay. You've got your rear reflections, a delay that you can set between stereo and mono. And again, your spin rate, which you can look at as a modulation. One thing to take note of, if you're adjusting your rear reflections here, if you look under advanced and you have this set all the way to front, you will not be able to hear the rear reflections. You need to be at 12 o'clock here, or you can set it all the way to the rear. Just something to take note of. So enough about the GUI here and all the controls. Let's take a listen to what this sounds like. So I've got this set on a female vocal. This is a snippet from a song called I Dare You from an artist named A Rose. This song should be releasing December 1st on iTunes. We're going to take a listen to it dry, a little bit of it dry, and then we'll bring in the HD cart and hear what it can do for this vocal.
Love me, then leave. Do as you please. I am not that woman where you can take what you need.
Okay, so let's bring in the HD cart. So I've got it on initial, which I've dialed in this reverb sound that I liked, and under, if you click under initial, you've got a list of all of your presets here. Not a huge fan of presets. I like to dial things in myself, so I took the time to dial in something that I liked, and it may be a little bit too much, but that's okay, because we really want to hear what this reverb can do. So let's bring in the HD cart and hear what it does to this vocal.
Love me, then leave. Do as you please. I am not that woman where you can take what you need. Kiss me goodnight. Can't say goodbye. You say I'm a maybe, but still call me baby.
Okay, so a really rich sounding reverb, and this really sounds like an analog unit reverb to me, and I've only said that about one other plugin, which is the SSL Xverb. It really sounds like a hardware reverb, in my opinion. Now, I want to play the room reverb, which is a reverb that I go to. It's one of my quick and easy reverbs I can dial in really quickly, just so we can compare this to another reverb. So this won't be a straight one-to-one comparison, of course, because the HD cart has features that the room reverb does not have. But we're just doing this just so you can hear a comparison between reverbs with the HD cart and another reverb plugin. So this is the same vocal, but with the room reverb from Studio One.
Love me, then leave. Do as you please. I am not that woman where you can take what you need. Kiss me goodnight. Can't say goodbye. You say I'm a maybe, but still call me baby.
All right, so not a bad sounding reverb at all. I've got the pre-delay and the length set the same as the HD cart, but let's take one more listen to the HD cart.
Love me, then leave. Do as you please. I am not that woman where you can take what you need. Kiss me goodnight. Can't say goodbye. You say I'm a maybe, but still call me baby.
Okay, so instantly I can hear that the HD cart sounds wider, and it's just overall just more richer, and it really makes the vocal sound more emotional, which, you know, for this song is just what it needs and is just what it's looking for. So again, this artist is A Rose. I'm gonna leave her information here if you want to check her out on Instagram or Facebook and learn more about her and hear more of her music. Now let's move over to a piano and hear what the HD cart can do for that. Okay, so now I've got a piano up here, and this is a piano played from Juliana Parker, and we've got a mono piano file here. I'm going to play just the dry version here, and then we'll add the HD cart. Okay, great sounding piano there. We can hear a little bit of natural reverb, but let's bring in the HD cart and see how we can enhance this piano. So again, I dialed in my own reverb settings for this. As you can see, it's set to initial, and let's see what we've got here. So you can hear the HD cart just really greatly enhances the piano with some lush sounding reverb here. I'm going to tweak a few settings and we'll play it back again. I'm going to bring the reverb time down a little bit, and we're going to switch over to just the standard version here. And let's actually move this to the rear a little bit. And we're going to turn up some of the front delay here. And there's one more feature I was looking for. Oh, the delay. We're going to turn up some of the delay here. Okay, so let's give this another listen with these new settings that we have here. Okay, and lastly, I want to play the difference between the front and the rear, as well as the spread here. So we've got the spread all the way up. So let's bring the spread down, and we're going to start with the front, and then just kind of halfway through this, I'll shift it to the rear. And we're going to go back to the enhanced mode as well. So again, that was piano played by Juliana Parker. I'm going to leave her information here, as well as in the link for you to check her out and check out more of her music. So that was the HD cart from Reverb Foundry. Like I said, a really lush and analog sounding reverb. Easily one of my favorite reverbs now. I'd highly recommend that you download the manual and just give it a read over, learn more about the reverb unit as well as the plugin and these features. Some reverb plugins can be very intimidating, and I didn't find this one to be intimidating, even with some of the features that you haven't seen on other reverbs before. But again, read the manual for just a more detailed explanation of those. Also, you can download a 14-day demo of this, and the price at this time is $199. And I want to, before I forget, let's take a look at just how it performs here. There we go. Okay, so looking at pretty light on the CPU. So it's not something that's going to hog up your CPU, which is something I'm checking now for the first time on here. So yeah, great job, especially for it being as lush and sounding. And reverbs can be known as a CPU hog. So yeah, this is pretty impressive for it to be only using 3 on the CPU. Okay, so there you go. That's the HD cart from Reverb Foundry. Comment, let me know what you think, and I'll catch y'all next time.